appears somebody may have had a change of heart. John Allen last month on the Junkies was pouring out his soul in an interview where he pretty much said he'd be remiss not to weigh out his options in the offseason and the possibility of him requesting a trade. The season went to hell. We ended up 4-13 and losers of our last 8 games, and he didn't have the type of season we need from our captain of the defensive line and of the team in general. Our vocal leader, 5.5 sacks, 53 tackles on the season, but nobody was too productive at all for the season. But so I could understand why someone like John Allen, who's played 6 years in this league and who comes from a program in Alabama and a high school that all he did was win his entire life. So to come here and do nothing but lose, and on top of losing, be in headlines and be the butt end of a joke franchise your entire tenure, I could see why you would want your way out. But it appears with the hiring of Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, John Allen might have had a change of heart. So last night in D.C., 6-7 The Fan versus Team 980 event, John Allen was there, and he got to answer questions from an esteemed panel of radio personalities here in D.C. And when he was asked about his change of heart, or does he see the future looking any brighter in D.C., John Allen said he was definitely pumped up after speaking with Adam Peters, and thumbs up for Dan Quinn. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I know he sees how Dan Quinn's defense is always produced. I know he sees what that Dallas defense was doing, and he says, ooh, I might want to be a part of this. Because Dan Quinn has always had a good defense. There's one thing about him. You can say anything about him as a coach. The boy can scheme it up. And Adam Peters is here. He means business. John Allen not looking up anymore and seeing Martin Mayhew being Ron's yes man in the front office. John Allen still has 2 years left on his contract. Base salary in 2024, $14 million, and $15.5 in 2025. And he could be an unrestricted free agent at his age 31 season in 2026. But here's where it got interesting, though. This is why we're here. Kevin Sheehan, shout out to Kevin Sheehan for asking this question, by the way. GOAT of the Washington sports radio scene. I love his podcast, but it's hard to listen to when he has dumbass Dom Lavero on. But he asked, what's your plan at 2? You know, what would you do at 2? What do you think the team should do at 2, given that Howell is not necessarily the answer? And John Allen's answer, with the caveat that he does not watch tape, I'd trade up for Caleb Williams. Stop the count. Stop the fucking count. Man, first things first, I don't think there's a chance in hell we're getting Caleb Williams. I think he's going 1 to Chicago. I don't think they trade out of that pick. 2, come on, John Allen. You got to be quiet, bro. You can't be out there putting that in the air. You play for the team. I don't need you putting. What if we're behind the scenes trying to actually get up at 1? I don't need a player on the roster speaking that out, messing that process up for us. You got a little bit too much dip on your chip. I love the honesty. I love the answer because that's what I would do. But I don't need John Allen coming out and answering that question out loud for media personalities to chew and bulletin board material for the next week of content. But I see the vision. I definitely see the vision. John Allen sure do be talking. He talk a whole bunch. He talks before games. He talks on Grant and Danny every week. He talks on the Junkies. He do a lot of talking. Let's parlay that talking back to the production that you gave us in every year, but this season. But does John Allen want to be a part of what we build in here? Does he still want to be a linchpin of that defense? Maybe he sees the vision now that we have an actual savvy defensive coordinator running this thing over here now. Maybe he sees that now that Chase and Montez are gone, him and Payne are the focal point of the defense. Maybe he wants to see what some of the guys he has in this locker room look like when there's actual adequate coaching, because that whole shit show coaching staff of before, it was buffoon after buffoon, and the team was never prepared to play. Never. We were predictable. We did the same things all the time, and the defense progressively got worse every season that Ron and Jack Del Rio and company were here. So I could get it if John Allen wants to get up out of here, but this ain't the same old Washington. I think John Allen sees it, and anybody with a fucking brain should be able to see that Daniel M. Snyder's not walking through that door with his Napoleon Bonaparte little man complex and meddling in things. Say what you want about the head coaching hire. We got the number one executive. We got the number one GM candidate this offseason. The guy constructing the roster, the guy making the selections, the guy cutting the check for everybody that's going to be joining here. It's all different now. Culture. I know Ron made us hate the word. I think the culture is going to be leaps and bounds better than anything I've ever witnessed as a 32-year-old fan of this team. I didn't get to witness the glory days, so all I know is the dysfunction, the bad headlines, the bad press. But another way to look at this John Allen thing about trading the two, is that him low-key campaigning to be traded up there with his boy in Chicago? Let me put my conspiracy theorist hat on for a second. Is John Allen trying to pitch himself to Chicago in a trade for the first pick as a sweetener? Because, you know, the easiest spot to trade up to one if Chicago does want to trade back, if they still want to get a Marvin Harrison or one of the other two quarterbacks, would be to just move back a spot to Washington, someone they know wants Caleb Williams, and you still get an elite player, and the trade compensation is not going to be nearly as crazy as the Godfather offers. People are going to be coming with from 8. Atlanta, or from 13 with the Raiders, or one of the Giants. Like, it's going to take a lot for one of them to move up to 1. We're number 2. It's not going to take nearly as much. Is John Allen proposing himself as part of a trade? No, I don't think that's what he's doing. I don't think he's trying to play 3D chess with that statement, but I think it's interesting that he came out that honestly, that earnestly when asked that question. That's very specific of a player that's currently on the roster to say, trade up for Caleb Williams. I'm here for it, though. I think that's, I think we was talking about this in the group chat. Jalen said, yo, John Allen out here pillow talking. Stop pillow talking. You putting out too much information, man. Josh told me the only GMs he seen walking the sidelines at the Senior Bowl was Adam Peters and Ryan Post. They could be cooking up. So nah, man, I don't know. We're not getting Caleb Williams. I'm already looking past Caleb Williams and thinking about Jaden Daniels and Drake May, because it's not happening. And I'm not setting myself up for disappointment again, because I never want to feel what I felt when Ben Johnson told us to get off the plane because he's good. Don't want to feel that again. So I'm not setting myself up for disappointment. John Allen is excited to play for Dan Quinn and excited about the Washington team that Adam Peters is capable of building. To be continued, to be determined. I don't think we hear a Jonathan Allen trade request coming as soon as I thought we were going to. Maybe he's going to let this thing play out a little bit. Say what you want about him. I know we get mad because he's given the I have a dream speech before every game, and then we turn out and get our ass whooped. But John Allen is a true Washington Redskin commander football teamer through and through from the area. He's a big influence on this team. He is the captain and the heartbeat of our defense. And say what you want about him, we would miss the fuck out of John Allen if he asks for a trade. But if he needs to do it, do what you got to do, pimpin'. Best of luck in your endeavors if you do ask for a trade. I don't think we may be headed that way. I think he's going to stay along for the ride, and him and Payne are going to be a driving force with Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. and company calling the new Washington Commanders defense. That's all I got for right now. Everybody enjoy your weekend. We're still waiting to hear how the rest of the staff plays out. The team hasn't even announced the Dan Quinn hiring yet. It's been reported and it's confirmed. We already know Dan Quinn is the coach, but it's not official till the team announces it. I expect an early morning or afternoon introductory presser for Dan Quinn. I expect it to be Monday because Tuesday through Saturday starts Super Bowl week, Super Bowl media day, all those shenanigans going on in Las Vegas. Washington's going to have to beat that cycle to get the intro presser out the way. If anything else comes out, I'll be on here as soon as it drops. Until next time, hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio, out.